This Notebook LM video dives into the intriguing paradox of Mary's two titles. One comes from historical tradition as the Mother of the King, while the other serves as a deep spiritual symbol of union with God. Together, they showcase Mary's unique role in salvation history and the timeless patterns that help us grasp divine mysteries.
Okay, so when we talk about Mary in Christian tradition, she's known by a lot of different titles, but two of them create what seems like a fascinating paradox. She's called both a queen mother and a queen consort. So how can one woman hold both of those roles in the same heavenly court? It sounds like a contradiction, right? But the answer is this really incredible blend of ancient history and some pretty deep theology.
Right, let's start with the one we all get right away, Queen Mother. It's simple. Mary is the mother of Jesus, and Christians believe Jesus is the king of the universe. So, the logic is pretty straightforward. The mother of the king is the queen mother. It's a powerful, direct, easy-to-understand relationship. But this is where things get a little tricky. See, a consort is the spouse of a king. So how can Mary be both the king's mother and, in some way, a king's consort? That's the puzzle we're going to unpack. And the key, you might be surprised to hear, isn't just in theology. It's actually found in the history of an ancient earthly kingdom from thousands of years ago. To solve this riddle, we've got to travel back in time, way back, to the Davidic kingdom of ancient Israel. Because it's right there, in the very structure of that earthly court, that we find the blueprint for understanding Mary's heavenly roles. And the key to this whole historical blueprint is a Hebrew word, Gabira. Now, this wasn't just some sweet nickname. It was an official state title. The Gabira, which means Great Lady, was the Queen Mother, and her office was a legit cornerstone of the monarchy in ancient Judah. And get this office had some serious power. This wasn't a ceremonial gig. No way. The Gabira was an official advisor whose name was literally recorded in the royal succession records. In a court with polygamy, where a king might have tons of wives, there was only one queen mother. Her authority was permanent. It totally eclipsed that of any wife, whose status was, temporary and completely dependent on the king's favor. You want a perfect picture of the Gabira's authority? Just look at this scene with King Solomon and his mother, Bathsheba. The king himself, the king, he rises, he bows to his mother, and then he seats her on a throne at his right hand. That's the ultimate position of honor. This one moment just perfectly captures the immense respect and the official status given to the Queen Mother.
So this distinction is absolutely critical. The Queen Mother, the Gabira, she held a formal state office. It was based on her permanent status. A queen consort, on the other hand, well, a king's wife had no formal office. Her influence was temporary, often competitive. Just think of the difference between someone like Bathsheba, a respected state figure, and Jezebel, whose power was way more informal and personal.
So, how does this ancient earthly office connect to a heavenly court? Well, this is where that historical blueprint becomes a theological model. This historical role, with all its defined power and honor, it established a really clear pattern. It basically became a blueprint that early Christians could look at and recognize and then apply.
To the mother of the ultimate Davidic king, Jesus. So, in a very real way, the Gabira of ancient Judah gives us the direct framework for understanding Mary as the Queen Mother of Heaven.
The theological logic just flows right from this model. I mean, if Jesus is the eternal king and Mary is his mother, well then she fulfills and elevates that ancient role of the Gabira. For believers, this means she's seen as the heavenly Queen Mother, sitting in a position of honor and acting as a powerful intercessor with the king.
Okay, so that solves the first half of our puzzle, right? The Queen Mother title makes perfect sense when you look at it through the lens of the Gabira. But that still leaves that other, more complicated title, Queen Consort. Where on earth does that come from?
All right, for this part, we have to shift gears a bit, from history to a really deep spiritual concept. The title Queen Consort for Mary, it doesn't refer to a physical relationship, not at all. It refers to a perfect spiritual union, something that kind of transcends our earthly understanding of marriage.
Now, this is absolutely crucial. This title has nothing to do with her son. Instead, Queen Consort is a symbolic title that describes Mary's unique spiritual relationship with God the Father. It's meant to represent her perfect yes to God's plan, a complete and total alignment of her human will with the divine will.
So a few things here are super important to get. This is a spiritual union, not a physical one. It goes way beyond our concept of marriage. In this theological view, It actually explains why Joseph is seen as Jesus' foster father on earth, but not Mary's husband in heaven. Her unique consort relationship is with God the Father, whose will she perfectly embodied, and it's a completely separate relationship from the one she has with her son.
So you might be asking, how can she have two different royal relationships? Well, the key is in the nature of the heavenly throne itself. The book of Revelation talks about a single shared throne, the throne of God and of the Lamb. This image is all about the shared sovereignty of the Father and the Son, and because they reign together from one throne, Mary can have a unique relationship with each of them, one as mother to the Son and the other as spiritual consort to the Father.
So, let's bring this all together. The paradox we started with, it's not really a contradiction after all. It's a harmony, where an earthly model and a heavenly mystery come together to explain Mary's one-of-a-kind place in it all.
And there it is, the paradox is solved. Mary has one queenship, but with two distinct royal relationships, and it's all made possible by that shared heavenly throne. She is Queen Mother because of her relationship to her son, Jesus the King, and she is the spiritual queen consort because of her relationship to God the Father. Two titles, two relationships, one queen.
Ultimately, what this really shows us is how human language and our own history, with titles like Mother and Consort, are used as these incredibly powerful metaphors. They're like earthly blueprints that help us get our minds around a divine reality that's so profound and complex, it's otherwise way beyond our full understanding. And that leaves us with a final thought. We saw how the Gabira, an earthly queen mother, literally held the power to shape the course of her entire kingdom. So, the question to really chew on is this. If an earthly mother's office was that significant, what are the full implications of a heavenly queen mother's role for, well, all of creation?